You could be a farmer in those clothes. Hello my friends and welcome to This Simple Sober Life. I am Joshua and I help others make small changes in their life so that they can create a life of awesome. Look at me. I could definitely be a farmer in these clothes. If you know me by now, you know that I am a city kid through and through. I do not wear flannel. I do not wear overalls. And unfortunately, this is not a Halloween costume. It's getting so cold outside that I had to buy some insulated overalls, flannel, and a flannel shirt for work. We work in, well, basically a tin can, and there is absolutely no heat in there. And so I am going to have to bundle up at work. And I was speaking to a coworker of mine, and he said that he wears thermals, a long sleeve shirt, a flannel, and then an insulated vest and coveralls just to stay warm. So I am dreading, we're now approaching mid-November and the temperature just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. So I had to go to the farm store. I never thought in my entire life I would say I have to go to a farm store. And I had to pick up, some insulated bib overalls and a flannel. And you know what? I had no idea that this stuff was so expensive. It was mind-boggling. These overalls were like $90. And, they definitely keep me warm, which is good. They're insulated up at the top and, all the way through. So I'm definitely going to stay warm, hopefully. But $90 for a pair of overalls? That's craziness. But, I had to get them so that I can continue to do my job. Anyway, today is Sunday and it's a beautiful day out. It's actually going to warm up to about 65, which is super exciting. I'm so glad to see that because yesterday I don't think it broke like 45. So, this is, at least it's creeping up more towards my comfort level. I'm going to meal prep today, and I'm going to take you along for that ride. I'm going to show you exactly what I am prepping for the week for breakfast and lunch, so that if you decide to make the decision to, try in a low carb thing, you might want to try some of these recipes. It's something fun that I like to do. I enjoy cooking. And I do it on Sunday afternoons so that I can have it for the rest of the week. I'll mix it up. My sister makes dinners, so sometimes I'll take, what I can, low carb wise, as lunch, just to kind of mix it up a bit. But I'll show you what I'm prepping for breakfast and lunch, just in case you need a new idea or something for a low carb thing. But I will check back with you in just a bit and I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. See you in a minute. All right, my friends, so I have changed out of my farmer clothes and into my regular Sunday sweats, and I am ready to get started on a low carb chicken marsala crock pot recipe that I found online. Now, generally, chicken marsala obviously calls for a dry marsala cooking wine, but I'm going to be substituting that out for chicken broth instead. We'll see how it goes. I'm not exactly sure. I've made chicken marsala before. It always came out great. This is the first time I'm actually trying it this way and making substitutions. But with my cooking, I never really follow a recipe to the T. So, and some people get a little aggravated about that because then they never know how to make it how I make it. But hopefully you can follow along if you're interested in creating a low carb recipe that you can carry into lunch or make for dinners or things like that. So the recipe is really, really simple. All it calls for is 4 chicken breasts, salt and pepper to taste, heavy whipping cream, a cup of dry Marsala cooking wine, which you can obviously use if you so choose to do so. Again, I'm substituting out for chicken broth. And some mushrooms. Now with mine, I'm going to be using the mushrooms. I'm also going to be throwing in some garlic because every dish I ever make has to have garlic in it. I might be Italian somewhere down the line. I'm not exactly sure, but I might have to do one of those 23andMe things just to find out. And some sweet onion I'm going to toss in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out by browning the chicken breast on each side. And then we're going to, while that's going on, we're going to be chopping our onion and our mushrooms. So let's head over and see what's cooking. All right, so we're going to start by turning on our stovetop to a medium-high heat, and we're going to add some olive oil to the pan. We'll open up that olive oil first. It doesn't really help if it's not open. There we go. All right, so we're going to add the olive oil. Just enough to coat the pan so the chicken has something to cook on. And we'll let that heat up. I've always heard that you should let your pan heat up before you throw anything in there. That way it gets cooking right away, I guess. I don't know. I also heard that you're supposed to leave your meat out so that it heats up to room temperature, but I just pulled this out of the fridge, so I don't know. It might be a complete disaster. Who knows? And Katie played that stupid song from Sound of Music yesterday, and now it's in my head. She's bound and determined to get me in the Christmas spirit, but I'm more of a Grinch than anything else. And Katie and Brian are in the other room, so they hear everything that I'm talking about. I didn't let that pan heat up enough, but this is why I don't own a restaurant. I've already pre-salt and peppered the chicken and let that marinate overnight. So we'll just let that do its thing and we'll go chop up some vegetables. All right, the chicken's starting to brown. I can hear it starting to sizzle, so we'll go ahead and chop up the onion. I like my onions maybe a little finely chopped. Ooh, my eyes are watering. Lord have mercy. Should have wore sunglasses. Thought this was a sweet onion. Okay, so that onion should be pretty good. Ooh, I'm crying. And then we'll move on to our mushrooms. I got baby Bella mushrooms, and these are organic ones. And we'll go ahead and chop those up. All right, and now that those are chopped, we'll just wait for our chicken to brown, and then we'll throw these in the same pan. All right, since that chicken is gonna cook in the crock pot, we don't wanna cook it all the way through. We just wanna get a brown on each side. And that'll help lock in some of those juices as well. All right, it should only take about 2 to 3 minutes per side. This one's still not done at all right there, so I'm gonna flip that one again. Kind of press that one down, and then just kind of take the rest of these out. You can see it's got a little golden brown on there, and that should be just enough. Now remember, it's not cooked on the inside, so that's what the crock pot's for. So don't go stabbing into this with a knife and fork just yet. Get that browned up. There we go. And then in that same pan with those chicken juices and the oil, I am going to add my garlic. That's a lot of garlic, but that's me. And we're going to add our mushrooms and onions. Just gonna drop those right in there. And just kind of stir everything around so that oil coats the different vegetables. And we're just going to cook this until the onions are about translucent. It should only take about 2 to 3 minutes. All right, that looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and transfer everything over to the crock pot. We've got our crock pot set on high. This is actually only going to be cooking for about 3.5 hours. So we'll go ahead and add our chicken breast. I'm not really sure what happened with that last clip. Somehow my camera jumped to slow motion. So it might look a little funny there, me putting the chicken in. But if it didn't come through, and I'm not gonna film it again, put the chicken and then the mushrooms and onions in the crock pot on high, so it'll cook for about 3.5 hours, and add about a cup of chicken broth or marsala wine, whichever you choose. Now, while this is cooking, I would normally prep and make my breakfast for the week, but I'm gonna go take a nap because it's Sunday afternoon, Callie's asleep, and she's giving me motivation to take a nap. But I will check back with you in maybe an hour or so and get that stuff rolling. Take care, and I'll be back. Callie's deciding on whether she wants to be on camera or not. You wanna come here? You wanna say hi? Come here. Oh, now she's making me dizzy. Well, I woke up from a short little nap. It was about maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. And I had to grab my iced coffee. Now, usually I'll drink about a pot of coffee a day. But if I have leftovers, I'll pour it into like a pitcher and put it in the fridge so I have iced coffee during the weekend. Because I love my coffee. And I have a special little cup that I drink out of. It says I pooped today. It's my favorite cup to drink coffee out of because, well, you know, the result of coffee. But anyway, since I'm awake, I'm going to go ahead and get started with my breakfast for the week. And what I'm doing is I'm going to be making little mini breakfast frittatas, and I'm going to be using a spicy pork sausage, a sweet onion, and cheddar cheese, and of course some garlic. So let's get into that, and I'll show you what I do. Just like with the chicken, we're gonna start by browning that. I've already got my pan preheated, so we'll just drop that in there. Make sure to get that paper off. That would not taste good. And my sister has this handy dandy little meat thingy that you can just kind of mix up your meat. And I've already chopped up my onions, so I don't have to worry about that. We'll just let this brown. And I'm trying a hot pork sausage this time. Normally I just get the regular kind, but I wanted to see if we could add a little flair. All right, we'll let that cook for a bit, and then we'll remove the pork from the pan and then saute the onions. That sausage looks like it's about done, so we'll go ahead and move it over to a paper plate on a paper towel. I gotta tell you, this is like the Walmart brand of pre-packaged sausage, and it's not smelling like regular sausage, so I'm not exactly sure how this is gonna turn out. You might wanna go for like the Jimmy Dean or a name brand sausage when you're picking out, you know, your breakfast meats. Another type of breakfast meat that I really enjoy is chorizo, and I was going to make it, but I found out, I was looking at the package, and the sodium content is about 80% of your daily value, so there's a lot of salt in there, and also there's carbs in there, so there's things in there other than meat. So I kind of decided not to go that route. Maybe one day, but right now I'm sticking to a low carb thing. So I'm going to add garlic and my onions, and we'll let those saute for a bit. And then I'll toss the pork sausage back in, and then just kind of mix it all together. So we'll go ahead and toss the meat back in. Give that a good mix up. And now we'll move over to the egg mixture. Now here I have a dozen eggs that I've just beaten up with some salt and pepper, and I made the mistake of adding milk to thin it out. And then I checked the label on the whole milk and realized that there's 12 grams of carbs per serving in milk. So next time I'm going to have to cut it with water. Normally I don't cut it at all because I generally don't put it into like into a muffin pan. Normally I do it into a whole, a 9x13 and do a whole sheet. But this time I'm doing individuals, so I thought I would cut it down to make sure I had enough for all 12 slots. But use water if you want to keep it really low carb. And from here we're just going to add the meat and onion. We're gonna add some sharp cheddar cheese, but a lot of times what I do, or it depends on the kind of breakfast frittatas I'm making. A lot of times I'll use spinach and feta. You can pretty much throw anything you want into these. They're really versatile, and I really like that because then you can have a variety of breakfasts. And then we'll just give it a good stir. And I rarely measure, so I'm just going to throw a big handful in there. That should be pretty good. Enough to get it all cheesy. Cheese is one of those things that we can have plenty of on low carb, so why not eat it if you can? And then we'll just give it a good stir. Mix it all up. That finely shredded cheddar probably would have worked better in this instance because I am putting it in muffin tin. Generally, it wouldn't matter if I was using the 9x13. Katie even suggested that I'd get the finely shredded one, and I didn't realize how much of a difference it would make, but it'll work for now. And then we'll move over to the muffin pan and pour our mixture in. And I kind of laugh at all the kitchen gadgets that Katie has, but secretly, I want every single one of them. She has these really cool mixing bowls that have like a little spout on there that helps, you nicely pour batters into the pan without getting, a bunch of spillage everywhere. So we'll just evenly pour mixture into the little holes. And I'm gonna have to straighten that up because even with the spout, I got a messy. And I have already preheated the oven to 350. These are gonna bake for about 20 minutes. And see, I didn't even need to cut it down. I should have just left it alone, but I'll remember that for next time. Let's smooth some of that out. Yes, I sprayed my pan. The first 2 times that I made this, I forgot to spray my pan, and I basically had to dig it out with a shovel. It's such a pain, but I sprayed my pan this time. I'm glad to have Katie in the background rooting me on and giving me helpful suggestions. She's a backseat driver and a backseat baker. And I still have some of that mixture left. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with that. We'll add a little bit more to that one. And that one. Oop, a little overboard. There we go. That'll work for now. And then we'll toss them in the oven. Set the timer for 20 minutes. And we'll check on them in a bit. All right, my friends, the buzzer is going off, so let's give these a good check. Ooh, they expanded a lot more than I thought they would. But at least they didn't get all over the oven, I hope. So they didn't come out very pretty, so I probably won't do this again, but we'll see if they're done. All right, so we'll just stab one in the middle with a fork. And it came out clean, so they're done. Next time I'm gonna have to portion control these a little more. But in the morning, what I'll do is I'll take 2. And so that'll be, 6 breakfasts. And this entire recipe maybe cost $8. And so, you're eating for 5-6 breakfasts for $8. So it's a lot cheaper than running to McDonald's, and definitely less carbs, less fat, and things like that. So a great way to plan out your breakfasts for the week and still be on a low carb, eating habit regimen. All right, so the Marsala chicken still has a little while to go. I'm going to get this cleaned up, and then I'm going to start working on another script for that series. All right, my friends, the 3.5 hours are up, and within that time, I've been able to absolutely complete and solidify the scripts for my Life of Change, for my Life of Awesome Change series. So I'm super excited about that. It has been such a productive day. Now, the only thing I have to do left for the rest of the evening is edit this video, and create a blog post that is supposed to be out tomorrow. So let's hope I can get all of that done by the time I go to bed. But the chicken should be ready for the next step. So let's jump over and take care of that so that I can get moving on the other stuff that I want to get done tonight. It's been so productive today. Wow. And I squeezed a nap in. So woohoo! All right, my friends. So the last thing that we need to do for this non-marsala chicken marsala, this low carb recipe, is we need to remove the chicken and the mushrooms from the crock pot. And I do that onto a paper plate. Whew, that's hot. All right, my friends, let's check out to see what the final product looks like. So it smells really good just opening it up. I can already tell the sauces didn't really thicken. That may have something to do with the fact that I didn't use the Marsala wine like the recipe called for. And the chicken, I can tell, is overdone. So I would definitely, if you try this recipe, I would definitely try it on low for 8 hours. Don't cook it on high in your crock pot. But I guess the final word should be how it actually tastes. So let's grab a little hunk and see how it tastes. All right, my friends. Time for a little taste test. Let's grab a piece from the bottom. Maybe that'll be a little more tender. The chicken is definitely dry. Yeah, it almost tastes like turkey, the white meat of turkey, of how dry it is. And it's bland. So I would definitely, if I decide to make this recipe again, I think I'll follow it to a T just to figure it out, but I don't think I would recommend it. Now, I'm highly adverse to throwing away food, so I'm definitely going to eat it. I'm going to let it cool and portion it out for lunches, but it's probably not something that I would try this way again. Next time I would use the Marsala wine and cook it on low. But if you give this recipe a try, I'd love to hear what you think. If you try it the way that it is, and I'll link down below to the recipe that I used for this. If you try it and like it, I would love to hear it before I go spending money and time on trying it a different way. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed these low carb recipes. If you did, make sure to comment down below and give this video a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already and hit that bell so you get notified each time I create a video. And yeah, I think that should cover it for now. Oh, and if you have other low carb recipes that you can offer me, I would be more than happy to give them a whirl. Comment with those down below. I'd love to hear them. Until next time, my friends, cheers.